It has been more than a week now since the Champlain South Tower in Surfside partially collapsed. Some 60 apartments suddenly gone. The shockwaves will continue for a long, long time, and forever, of course, for the families of victims. A few days ago, President Biden visited Surfside, meeting with first responders, and there you see him with Governor Ron DeSantis and the Miami-Dade mayor. A briefing with them and U.S. Senators Marco Rubio and Rick Scott. And there the president vowed his support of ongoing recovery efforts.
And you're doing it. I mean, just the simple act of everybody doing whatever needs to be done is, it really makes a difference.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and you recognize the severity of this tragedy from day one, and you've been very supportive.
Now for our roundtable with our News Channel 5 political analysts, Mary Anna Mancuso and Brian Crowley. We've seen such local, state, and federal coordination here. Brian is a longtime hand in Tallahassee, covering the political beat there. So much will be made in the next session about what we have to look at in terms of laws, regulations, changes perhaps to construction codes, how these places are insured. We don't exactly know what the blueprint will be like. We know it will be a central point of discussion. Give us a sense of how that will be walked through legislatively, and take the concerns we've seen and bring them to some kind of new approach, even though we don't yet know what that approach will be.
Well, while nobody in the leadership in the House or the Senate has said anything publicly yet, I think that it wouldn't be surprising to find that they form a special committee to look at all aspects of the incident itself in Surfside, but also to look at a bigger picture. How safe are our buildings? How safe are our condos? Have we committed some dangerous errors by building in areas that perhaps we shouldn't be building? Are construction codes being carefully followed? Are building departments in cities and counties staffed in a way that they can really do thorough and complete inspections? There's a lot of things to look at here, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a special committee followed by maybe a special session.
And to that point, Brian, and then Mary Anna, and I'm assuming part of that, to bring in the experts to advise them so that don't make hasty decisions, but can get the true engineering and expertise input to say, here's what we need to do. I think this is going to be one of the deepest dives we'll see in recent history in Florida as we try to look at the aftermath of this to prevent it from happening again.
Yeah, I mean, Floridians are not going to just quietly ignore what happened in Surfside as time goes by, as so often happens after incidents. We have the danger of a storm coming over as the rescuers are trying to take care of the folks in Surfside. I mean, this has become this will be an ongoing, very serious thing that I think Floridians are going to demand that we take action about, and that we do a very, very thorough job looking into this and preparing for the future.
Mary Anna, perspective.
I think that, to Brian's point, this is going to take years to actually figure out what caused all of this to happen. And we've actually seen that the Surfside tragedy has now seen local leaders. I spoke with Mayor of Boca Raton, Mayor Scott Singer, and he was talking about how they're bringing it up on the docket to start assessing the buildings that they have. And just up in Kissimmee, they found a unit that 70 units in that condominium building were not structurally sound. So I think that they're seeing immediate change, but they're really trying to figure out what caused this. And I've seen that there's some structural engineers that are saying there's 60 or 70 possible variables, and only time will tell.
And I think to that point, it's not hyperbole in an event so tragic of such magnitude, Marianna, to say that this will be something. Surfside, as I said in my reporting there this week, will be a dateline for the debate and discussion about what has to permanently change moving forward in a state where so many have had the Florida dream of moving to the seashore, moving to a condominium, moving to Oceanside. It's going to fundamentally change the debate about how that looks, how safe it is, and how we regulate and make sure these buildings are insured and improved when they need to be. Again, saying that we do not yet know finally and firmly what the cause here was, so there are reports about a lot of critical concerns with that building going a few years back, Marianna.
Yes, and to your point, we don't know what caused this, but what we do know is that there is a large public outcry and determination by the public as well as officials. I mean, look, I've been one of the harshest critics of the governor throughout the COVID pandemic response, but his response on this tragedy has been absolutely A+. And I think that he's doing the right thing and putting partisan rhetoric and politics aside to work with our president to get to the bottom of the tragedy, and being out there every single day offering condolences and vowing not to actually let up until they have a reason and how we can solve this to ensure it doesn't take place again.
Everybody's been working across that aisle as Floridians and as Americans, and they've all emphasized that. Brian, I want to pick up one more topic before we go to sort of a special close on this 4th of July. Governor DeSantis vetoed what would have been a big overhaul of auto insurance. He put his veto pen to something that would have done away with no-fault provisions. Some argued it was going to lower insurance costs for everybody. Others argued we couldn't be certain if doing that would happen, and it was something you might not have expected given it's a Republican-led legislature. Your thoughts?
Well, and it was overwhelmingly passed by the legislature. But, you know, the insurance companies, as they frankly always do, said that if this legislation was signed by the governor, it would result, in fact, in an increase in rates for consumers. And, you know, as Governor DeSantis is looking toward 2022, the last thing he wants to be accused of is causing auto insurance rates to go up for consumers. I don't know if there's ever a way of making auto insurance or homeowners insurance or any kind of insurance go down, because everything that's ever tried seems to fail.
And you've covered it enough to see them go through one cycle after another.
Sure have.
On this 4th of July, we also have a moment where we have to talk about our roundtable. That's going to be a little bit smaller for a while because one of our familiar faces is departing, and that is Mary Anna Mancuso, her final broadcast with us. Mary Anna, tell us what you'll be up to. It's been a real pleasure working with you these last 4 years, but you are taking your leave of us now.
I am. Well, the pleasure really has been all mine. And every Sunday that I've gotten to come into the homes of our viewers and spend time with you and Brian, talking politics and looking into the tea leaves of what's coming up has just been, it's meant so much to me. And I'm so grateful to have been a part of it. But yes, my husband and I will be moving. We're moving out of state. So we will not be here in Florida anymore, but we will be keeping the pulse, specifically myself. I will be keeping the pulse on Florida politics because Florida is the bellwether of the nation. So I will miss all of you greatly.
Of course, tuning into the streaming feed of To The Point, I'm sure, every Sunday.
I've got the app, Michael. Literally, that's all I'm doing. And when I'm not going to be on the show, I'll be streaming it. You can stream it wherever you stream your apps on your phone. WPTV, the channel app. It is my favorite app on my phone, which I have often said, and no one has paid me to say that.
We've sat through a lot of election nights together, a lot of big issues. Brian, I know you want to weigh in here as our dear friend and colleague departs. Brian?
Well, New York is a fascinating place to be, and you don't often hear about people in Florida returning to New York, so I wish you well on this trip to New York. I have no idea how long you're going to be there or if you'll be coming back, but I wish you well.
Well, thank you. Well, the Sunshine State always brings me back. I have no doubt I will be back at some point, but yes, you know, it's a chance that we're going to take, and we're going to go, and you can continue to kind of watch my story unfold on social media. And I hope you'll continue to tune into The Point, because I know I will.
Teaching in politics and political coverage and analysis still in your future there, Mary Anna?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not letting up this easily. We're heading into an exciting midterm cycle in 22, and then we've got the presidential right around the corner. I will be keeping my pulse not only on Florida politics, but national as well.
All right, what you can't see is that I have nailed Brian to his seat so that he can't go anywhere. But it's been
many years.
That's right. It's been a real pleasure, Mary Anna, and we will let you have, we'll flip it around this week. We'll do the Crowley closer after the break first and let the Mancuso moment be our final turn of this day, but we'll be back with more in a moment. It's been a real pleasure and an honor. Stay with us. Back in a second.